YouTube, what's good? In this video, I'm going to take you through how I started using my negative emotions, what I thought were leading to my downfall, and turn them into one of the most positive things that has ever happened in my entire life. If you don't know me, I'm Nate, stunt rider, content creator, inspirational speaker. Been a stunt rider for the last 12 years. I like to make videos based upon the lessons that I learned from being a 1% stunt rider and how I apply them to life, business, family, relationships, everything. And what I want to talk about specifically today is fear, pain, and discomfort, because we are so programmed and so conditioned to run from these things, okay? And we almost shame ourselves for feeling fearful, right? Or feeling pain or feeling discomfort. And this all comes with personal growth. And that is my passion. Self-development, mindset, psychology is my passion in this life. And this is why I started making these videos, because I realized throughout stunt riding that I got more satisfaction from pushing myself and learning my limits and then breaking through those limits than any other trick or any other accolade or sponsorship or any of the things that I did was more geared towards my fulfillment in that was always more geared towards how I was evolving as a person rather than all of the things that came with it. And I think all of the things were just a byproduct of the fact that I was obsessed with being the best version of myself, turning to the best rider that I could be. So, fear, pain, these things will be present in the journey. If you are trying to be great, if you are pushing yourself, if you are breaking the mold, if you are changing, if you are changing the narrative in your family and in your bloodline and being the first person if you are changing the narrative in your family, in your bloodline, if you are going to be the first entrepreneur like me and my family, there is going to be pain. There is going to be discomfort. There is going to be this idea, and I talked a little bit about last time, this isolation where you have to understand that these things have to be a part of the journey, and they will be a part of the journey. So what I started doing that changed my entire life is every bit of progression that I saw, I assumed that, okay, I break through this level, whatever that level may be. We can talk about the bike, talk about life. For the bike, every time I would do a new trick, I would assume that the next trick I was going to do, though it was harder, there would be no fear. That was a lie. Anytime I was like, okay, I got to push it to the next level. I gotta step it up. I gotta really turn up. There was still that lingering fear. And that was always my battle within myself was, again, I assumed, bro, I already did this. I used to think this was hard. Now I'm going to do something else. And I kept proving to myself over and over I could do it. So why is there this fear? I truly don't understand. Why is this fear always present? Okay. And I realized that it was never going to go away. That anything that I attempted throughout my entire life, taken away from the bike, that there was always going to be discomfort with growth. Talk about working out, going to the gym. When do your muscles grow? Your muscles grow during the pain. When you go to the gym and you just fuck around and you don't actually work out and you don't actually get good reps in and you don't feel burn and you don't feel pain, there's very, very little noticeable progress. It's in the pain of the rep that then you see the growth over time. So what I started doing that changed me forever, and I will go back to the story I always go to, 2015, when I got in the accident. I was laying there in the hospital, battered and broken, could not walk, could not use both of my hands, road rash from head to toe, and a decision had to be made right then and there. These are moments that break riders. These are moments that break people in general. I know plenty of riders that have gotten little accidents, not even accidents, but they will crash their bike at the lot and they never will get back on it. So 10 steps up from that, T-boning a car, laying in the hospital, a decision has to be made. I am in pain, okay? So instead of retreating, why don't we use this negative emotion that we all run from, pain, fear, discomfort, instead of shaming yourself or telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this way. Nobody else that's doing shit feels like this. I'm the only one. Again, isolation. Go back and watch the last video. I'm the only one that feels this way. How come all these other guys don't feel like this? You get so worked up in your head that you firmly believe, and you will convince yourself nobody else feels this way. If I do feel this way, this negative emotion, this fear, this discomfort, this isn't for me. Use the pain. Use the fear. If it's there, combat it with more pain. What do I mean? Laying in the hospital bed, a decision has to be made. Are you going to get back on the bike? Yes, but why? I convinced myself that the 8 months of recovery, the still dealing with the financial strain that it put on my life almost 8 years later now, the mental battle that I was going to have to face in getting back on the bike. I'm stacking all these things up, right? I'm thinking I'm doing the pros and cons list. And the only thing I can think of was that it would be more painful for me to quit. It would. And I'm keeping it 100% with you guys. It would be more painful than all this other shit that I had to go through. I didn't even mention the court case, right? 8 months of recovery, flying back and forth to Fresno, California from Washington to fight this court case, dealing with the financial stuff. All of that stacked against me, I just knew in my heart that it would be more painful for me to quit and never go back. And this is how my story would have gone. Yeah, I started riding motorcycles, decided I wanted to start wheeling them, and then I got in this accident. I kind of learned how to do it a little bit, and then I got in this accident, and, it just wasn't for me anyways. That story right there is far more painful for me to listen to than all the other shit that I just listed. All of it. Not the physical battle, not the mental battle, not the financial battle, not the court case. All of those things that, again, break riders and break people. It was more painful for me to sit there laying in the hospital bed and say, I'm done. It's all right, bro. This happens to people, and maybe this is just the way that, the cards are dealt, and you're just going to have to pack it up. Instead of saying that and succumbing and submitting to my pain and my fear, I just used it in a different way. And this is what I want you guys to do. If you are feeling pain, if you are fearful, you need to use this to your advantage. And not a lot of people are talking about this and how you can literally twist something that we believe is negative and turn it into one of the most positive things that will happen in your life. I'm going to be very transparent and I'm going to be very honest with you guys. And it's something that I don't like to talk about a lot because, to be honest, I'm a little bit embarrassed about it. But right after high school, when I graduated, I wanted to commit suicide. I realize now, hindsight is 2020. I'm a completely different man, and I had nothing in my life going for me, and I believed that I had no purpose in this life. So, given, as you've seen, the extreme nature of how I do my life with the bike and all these other things, if I wasn't dedicating my life to something, I thought, why should I be here? Plain and simple. I couldn't find a place to fit. And right after I found the bike, I found that place to fit. And then I've just progressed along the way. But in those moments where I really thought, bro, it would just honestly be better if this shit was over. It honestly would. And if you feel that way right now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And again, I just want to be fully transparent with you guys because I hope to serve somebody that is possibly feeling this way. The last thing that I remember before starting to battle this idea was, what's more painful? The idea that you believe that you have no purpose in this life, or there is purpose for you out there, but you end the game too early and you never find it. At least fucking try. And so I did. And now I'm sitting in front of this camera talking to you right now. Thank God. Right there is just a testament how you can take something that again, we believe is so negative and just detrimental to our life, pain and fear, and you can take it and literally run with it and turn it into a positive. And so, with business, right? I like to talk about this because I am an entrepreneur. I do run a business now, and it's something I'm very proud of because it was something that I was extremely fearful of. When I say extremely fearful, I mean I was scared shitless to quit my job and start my own business. And I am so proud of myself that I have been self-sufficient on my own, making my own money for the last 3 years. And I realized there was something in me that was telling me to do this, right? And this obviously probably ties in with the bike. I don't like authority. I don't like people telling me what to do, which is why I used to break the law all the time. And I just knew that I could do this. I knew that I watched other people do it that were just like me, came from the same place as me, same background, whatever, same skill set, what have you. I knew that I could run my own business. And I was so fearful of quitting my job and trying to figure out how to make it work. And I did this same exact thing that I did with the bike, with the fear, and with my ideas of wanting to end my life. And I believed that in that moment, there had to be a death, right? A death to this fear that what can really go wrong, right? And that's what I told myself. So I was so fearful that I wasn't going to make it work. And one thing I will say is the job I was working at, it wasn't really making it work for me anyway. So I had nothing to lose. I was making this fear up in my head. But I took the fear and I said, what are you more afraid of? I'm using the fear. What are you more afraid of? Are you more afraid of not being able to make it work? Or are you more afraid of having that potential within you and never bringing it to life? I know now. And I knew before, and this is why I went through these bouts of bad mental states, because I would rather die, honestly, rather die than not at least try to pursue my potential. And this is exactly what I just said right there is how I've changed my life completely. This idea of fear is I would rather die than be a coward. And when I say coward, I don't mean to be offensive. I mean for myself, if I know something's in there and I feel like God is telling me to do something, or I feel like I have some sort of potential to be lived in this life while I'm here, I'd rather die than not fulfill it. And I've just taken the fear, taken the pain, taken the discomfort, and used it to the best of my ability. And one of the reasons being is because I want to be the best father that I can be. And I mean, that is my 100% top priority. Nothing comes over my family, my wife and kids. And I just see the times that I would literally sit in my car at 4 o'clock in the morning outside the gym, refreshing my negative bank account, hoping that somehow a check would just pop in there magically, that if I didn't display to my wife and kids the characteristics of a man that can handle anything, I would rather die. Straight up. So be extreme with this. I think a lot of people shy away from being extreme. And I've talked about this in another video previously, is that the extreme people are always the ones that get the most shit kicked at them, right? Like, oh my God, you're doing too much. You're way too intense. Like, why does it have to be this serious? And it's like, you get one shot at this life, one shot. You get one chance. There's no do-overs. You don't want to take it serious. You don't want to be extreme. You just want to just chill and sit back and kind of just do whatever and be like a leaf just blown in the wind. Oh yeah, let somebody else pick the way my life's going to go because I don't want to be too loud and too do too much, to pick how I want my life to go. No, I would rather die than not have some sort of control and collaboration with God and the higher power to pursue my potential in this life and hopefully serve people. And that's my idea of even making these videos, is I hope that this video resonated somewhat with you and you can take something from it and you can run with it and do something great with your life. That's why I do this. So again, sometimes there's pain. And when I mean pain, is hard for me to make these videos. It's hard for me to come up with these concepts. It's hard for me to sit down in front of this camera and record this, but it's in here. And that fear of putting it out there doesn't get views, doesn't do well. I would rather die than not try.